And here I continue the story of all the conflicts in my past when being involved in activist environments. And one conflict was involving people from Friends of the Earth, and I was going on a nature trip for a weekend, spending some time with 8 persons. I think we were about 8, and spending some time in a cottage and going on nature walks. And I don't remember exactly what conflicts I had at the moment, but I remember that I was really looking forward to this trip, and that it would be with people who are involved with Friends of the Earth, because some of the men that I've met in the meetings there I really like, and I think that they are very laid back and not so macho. And because in Finland in general men are very macho. And what happened instead during that trip was not relaxation, but I was pretty traumatized. It was a horrific experience, because on that trip there was another dominant person. Where? Here. Yes. Very, very dominant. And I will post a feedback letter that I wrote to a mailing list after the trip, and this caused both positive and negative reactions. There was some really, really sexist comments coming out. People aren't really ashamed of what they say. But there were also people pointing out that this wasn't the correct way of behaving. So what happened during that trip was that this person was behaving in a very dominant and disturbing way, and making really uncomfortable, sexist, like slippery sexual jokes, and in general not really having a feel for having a sensitivity to the others. And I ended up in a situation where I was walking alone in the forest in the middle of the night with this person, and she was behaving in a really, really scary way. And when we got back to the cottage, I said that we needed to have a meeting, and so we all went inside the cottage, we sat down, and this person was confronted with dominant and sexist behavior. And when I spoke, she didn't want to really take in what I was saying. My reality wasn't worth taking into consideration for her. And she was saying that she's a feminist, and that yeah, basically she just couldn't accept what I was saying. And then there was another woman who was also stating like her idea of that this person has a problem with dominant behavior and can cause an unpleasant atmosphere, and that wasn't enough either. So I asked all the others to please support, and to, if they had anything to say, that this was the right moment to do that. And yes, everybody was saying something, and this person was just sitting like this, like, I can't, but if, and then it was, yeah, I remember she was mentioning, like, specifically the name of one man, that even if this person says it, it's like, then she could believe it, but not if 2 women were pointing out that, hey, you have disturbing behavior. But yeah, it was really like a reality clash for this person, that it was just incredible for her that, you know, the thing that was so obvious to all the others who was on that trip was completely not real for her. So yeah, sexism and macho behavior and dominance, it's a lot about ignorance. I don't think that people really want to not be liked and feared. And I also remember that after I wrote the feedback, there was one person who had been on the trip who wrote me back and said that she didn't say anything in the cottage, and she could have, but she just went into some kind of protective mode. She was scared of this person exploding or something like that, and this had to do with childhood trauma. And she said she just didn't, she was just kind of blocking off a lot of the things that were being said and done. And there was one scary song that this dominant person had been singing while we were alone in the forest, and I asked her to sing it again to the others, just to show that, okay, this was what I was exposed to. And the person who kind of just blocked everything off, she said she didn't even remember the song. So we have really strong mechanisms of defending ourselves when we get into situations that are frightening for some reason or other. But yeah, the feedback letter is posted underneath, and there is problems with sexism everywhere. And I would say one good thing about Friends of the Earth, or this specific part of Friends of the Earth in Finland, that at least in their principles, as I've understood, it's mentioned that they are for feminism. It doesn't only say this kind of vague for anti-sexism, but really that feminism is mentioned, which I see as really an essential thing.